How I Unfked My Mind intro. I didn't fix my life. I fixed my mind first. People think transformation begins when life gets better. It doesn't. Transformation begins when you get sick of your own bullshit. I didn't unfk my mind because I was strong. I unfked my mind because I hit a point where staying the same was more painful than changing. I hit a point where the fear of repeating my life became greater than the fear of rebuilding it. A point where excuses felt disgusting. A point where comfort felt poisonous. A point where I realized the villain wasn't life, wasn't people, wasn't circumstance. The villain was my mental operating system. This audiobook is not a pretty story. It's not inspirational fluff. It's not a believe in yourself lullaby. This is the truth. The kind that burns. The kind that wakes you the hell up. The kind that forces you to confront your own reflection and admit, you are not stuck. You are conditioned. You are not broken. You are distracted. You are not weak. You are untrained. And you are not done. You're dormant. This is how I unfked my mind, and it's how you can unfk yours. No excuses, no hiding, no soft edges. Let's begin. Chapter 1. I stopped lying to myself. Before I changed anything, I had to face everything. The truth wasn't pretty. I wasn't stuck. I was avoiding things. I wasn't confused. I was scared. I wasn't unlucky. I was undisciplined. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was unorganized. I wasn't broken. I was repeating patterns that broke me. The mind lies when you're afraid of growth. It tells you stories that feel safe, even when they're destroying you. My lies sounded like this. It's not the right time. I'll fix it later. I just need a break. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. No, I wasn't. I was surviving, not building. I was coping, not improving. I was wishing, not working. The moment everything changed was the moment I said the 4 words that every comeback begins with, this is on me. Not in a guilt way, not in a shame way, in a power way. If it's my fault, it becomes my fix. If it's my responsibility, it becomes my breakthrough. You cannot unfuck a mind that still believes it's the victim of everything. Accountability is the doorway. Walk through it, and the entire world opens up. Avoid it, and you stay stuck forever. Chapter 2. I stopped negotiating with pain. Here's the part most people never understand. Your mind isn't broken. It's comfortably conditioned. Pain doesn't destroy people. Comfort does. Pain wakes you up. Pain reveals the truth. Pain exposes your patterns. Pain forces you to evolve. But when a year breaks you, emotionally, financially, mentally, your instincts tell you to numb out, slow down, soften, retreat. That is exactly how you stay stuck. I unfucked my mind when I stopped trying to avoid pain and started learning from it. Every painful chapter in my life had one job: to show me the version of me I could no longer afford to be. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. But you have to stop running long enough to hear the lesson. If you're serious and ready to unfuck your mind, prove it now by taking a simple, symbolic, powerful step to subconsciously program your mind and send a message to the universe. If you ignore this action, you'll be cursing yourself by clicking the subscribe button and liking this video. You're proving to yourself you're at the right place at the right time, and you're ready to reap the rewards. Let's fucking go. Chapter 3. I killed the old story. Every stuck person has a story. A story about why things are the way they are. A story about why nothing changes. A story that explains failure, avoids responsibility, and protects the ego. My story was elegant, clean, convincing, and completely false. Stories are prisons disguised as explanations. When I unfucked my mind, I did it by destroying the narrative that kept me small. The old story said, I can't win because of what's happened to me. The new story said, I will win because of what's happened to me. Pain didn't make me powerless. Pain made me prepared. Pain gave me depth. Pain gave me awareness. Pain gave me fire. Once I rewrote the story stopped controlling me. and the mind follows the story it believes. Change the story. You change everything. Chapter 4. I stopped seeking approval. Approval is one of the most addictive drugs on the planet. It makes you behave. It makes you shrink. It makes you cautious. It makes you obedient. Approval is the killer of ambition. And I didn't realize how addicted I was until I lost myself trying to please people who weren't even living the life I wanted. I unfucked my mind by walking away from one deadly habit, needing permission to be powerful. Approval is cheap. Freedom is expensive. But freedom is the only path to transformation. When you stop needing people to understand you, support you, validate you, or clap for you, you become unstoppable. Because now, you act from conviction, not compliance. Chapter 5. I built discipline like my life depended on it. Not motivation, not inspiration, not hype, discipline. If motivation is the spark, discipline is the engine. Motivation collapses when life punches you. Discipline grows from the punches. I unfucked my mind when I accepted this truth. Your life is not determined by what you feel. Your life is determined by what you do when you don't feel like doing anything. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's choosing your future self over your current mood. It's choosing the life you want over the emotions trying to talk you out of it. I built discipline by killing 4 toxic habits: overthinking, excuse-making, emotional reasoning, waiting for the right time. There is no right time. There is only now. And now is the only thing discipline needs. Chapter 6. I stopped letting my emotions drive. Your emotions are real, but they're not reliable. They tell you how you feel, not what is true, not what you're capable of, not what your future can become. If you let your emotions drive, your life will always crash. The moment I unfucked my mind was the moment I realized feelings are visitors, actions are identity. I stopped asking myself, what do I feel like doing today? I started asking, what does the strongest version of me do today? And then I did that, even when it felt impossible. How I Unfked My Mind 6,900-word audiobook, Part 2 of 3. No fluff, no filler, pure transformation, continuous audiobook voice. Chapter 7. I chose identity over habit. Most people try to change their lives by fixing habits. That's why they fail. You don't fix habits, you fix identity. Habits follow identity the way a shadow follows light. Every day I used to say things like, I'm trying to be better. I'm working on myself. I'm improving slowly. That language is weak. It leaves your identity untouched. The breakthrough happened the day I stopped trying to change and became the person who lives the life I wanted. Instead of saying, I need to be disciplined, I said, I am disciplined. Instead of saying, I'll try to be stronger, I said, I am strong. Identity doesn't wait for evidence. Identity creates evidence. The moment you choose a new identity, your brain begins constructing behaviors to match it. I unfucked my mind by giving myself a new identity to serve, one powerful enough that my old habits had no place left to live. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of the person you decide to become. Chapter 8. I cut the people who weakened me. This was brutal. This was necessary. This was non-negotiable. You cannot unfk your mind while keeping the people who keep you fked. Some people don't want to see you grow. Some people don't want to lose the version of you that makes them comfortable. Some people will cheer for your healing as long as your healing doesn't surpass them. I realized my environment was built for who I was, not who I needed to become. So I cut. The draining people, the jealous people, the passive-aggressive people, the excuse makers, the ones who only call when they need something, the ones who laugh at the goals they're too scared to chase. Removing people wasn't about anger. It was about alignment. You cannot build a new mind with people who benefit from your old one. My standards rose. My circle shrank. My life expanded. That's the formula. Chapter 9. I stopped letting failure humiliate me. Most people stop when they fail. I stopped stopping. Failure isn't a sign you're unworthy. Failure is a sign you're working. Every time I failed, I used to turn inward with shame. Then I realized something life-changing. Failure doesn't say anything about you. Failure reveals the gap between where you are and where you're going. Failures became feedback. Feedback became fuel. Fuel became results. When I failed, I asked one question: what is this teaching me about who I must become? Not, why does this keep happening? Not, what's wrong with me? Not, what if people think I'm stupid? People who succeed don't avoid failure. They use it. Success is not the absence of failure. It is the mastery of it. Once I stopped being humiliated by failure, failure stopped having power over me. Chapter 10. I stopped running from the past and started rewriting it. The past is a mental movie with no power until you press play. My mistake wasn't having a painful past. It was replaying it every time I felt weak. I unfucked my mind by doing something radical. I stopped asking, why did this happen to me? I started asking, what did this create in me? Pain creates awareness. Loss creates clarity. Failure creates resilience. Betrayal creates standards. Rock bottom creates the version of you that actually rises. My past wasn't my prison. It was my preparation. Nothing changes until you stop letting your past define you and start letting it refine you. Chapter 11. I built systems that didn't depend on motivation. Motivation is emotional. Systems are structural. If your improvement depends on feeling good, feeling inspired, or feeling ready, your life will always collapse the moment stress hits. Systems don't care about your mood. Systems don't care about your excuses. Systems don't care about your bad day. Systems protect your future from your fluctuations. I built systems for morning discipline, mental toughness, money management, content production, emotional regulation, progress tracking. Once the systems were stronger than my excuses died. This is the truth. You don't need a better mindset. You need better systems. Systems build discipline. Discipline builds identity. Identity builds destiny. Chapter 12. I stopped being available to my old self. This was the true turning point. Most people want to change, but they're still available to the habits, thoughts, distractions, and behaviors that destroy them. I had to become unreachable to my former self. Unreachable to the version of me that procrastinated, the version of me that settled, the version of me that avoided truth, the version of me that broke down under pressure, the version of me that needed validation, the version of me that couldn't walk away. I didn't improve. I outgrew. There is a version of you that cannot come with you into the life you want. And you know exactly which version it is. When I became unavailable to my old self, my new self became inevitable. Chapter 13. I stopped letting my future be a negotiation. Most people treat their future like a suggestion. Something that might happen if conditions are perfect. Something that could happen if motivation sticks. Something they hope happens someday. Not me. Not anymore. I made my future a decision, not a dream. A decision backed by discipline. A decision backed by identity. A decision backed by non-negotiable standards. I stopped saying, I hope next year is better. I started saying, next year is better because I am becoming better now. Hope is passive. Decision is power. I didn't hope to unfuck my mind. I decided to. And decisions, real decisions, rewrite destiny, especially when it felt impossible. Chapter 14. I stopped letting fear make my decisions. Fear didn't ruin my life. Obeying fear did. Fear isn't the enemy. Fear is a compass. It points directly at the areas where growth is required. But fear becomes dangerous when you mistake it for instruction. Fear says, stay small, stay quiet, stay safe, stay predictable. Growth says, screw that, walk forward anyway. Once I realized fear wasn't telling the truth, it was telling me where my potential lived, everything changed. Fear of failing? That meant I needed to act. Fear of judgment? That meant I needed to speak. Fear of change? That meant change was the only path. Your future doesn't come from avoiding fear. Your future comes from walking directly into it. Chapter 15. I removed the poison of comparison. Comparison is spiritual corrosion. It destroys your confidence, your creativity, your energy. I used to compare my healing to someone else's progress, compare my journey to someone else's timeline, compare my setbacks to someone else's highlight reel. Comparison lies. It always has. It always will. Because you never compare fairly. You compare your insides to someone else's edited outsides. I unfucked my mind the moment I realized I'm not competing with anyone. I'm competing with the version of me who stayed stuck. The moment I cut comparison, my growth exploded. My confidence strengthened. My peace returned. You are running a race with yourself, and the only question that matters is, are you advancing? Are you elevating? Are you becoming? If yes, you're winning. Chapter 16. I stopped being owned by my phone, distractions, and dopamine. You cannot rebuild a powerful mind while living in a digital casino engineered to weaken it. I had to face the truth. My mind wasn't tired. It was overstimulated. My mind wasn't broken. It was overloaded. My mind wasn't unfocused. It was addicted. Notifications, scrolling, endless entertainment, constant noise, repeated dopamine hits. These things don't just waste time. They dissolve the ability to think deeply. I unfucked my mind the moment I did something radical. I created boredom again. Silence, stillness, focus, presence, time without a screen. The moment I removed digital chaos, clarity appeared. Ideas returned. Motivation strengthened. Identity sharpened. Your mind isn't weak, it's drowned. Unplug and it resurfaces. Chapter 17. I started moving before I felt ready. Read this twice. Ready is a lie. Ready is a trap. Ready is procrastination wearing a nice outfit. You don't get ready, you get started. Confidence comes from action, not before it. I unfucked my mind when I realized waiting to feel ready was the reason I kept losing years. Starting broke? Good. Starting scared? Perfect. Starting confused? That's how everyone starts. Starting unprepared? Welcome to reality. Nothing meaningful begins with certainty. Everything meaningful begins with motion. Action creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. Direction creates power. Your next level waits on the other side of one decision. Move now. Chapter 18. I stopped making excuses, for my potential excuses are the most professionally crafted lies you tell yourself. They sound intelligent, they sound reasonable, they sound emotional, and they keep you trapped. My excuses sounded like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm recovering. I'm trying to get my life together. I'm dealing with too much right now. All of it was true. None of it was helpful. Life will always give you a reason to delay growth. There is never a perfect time to transform. I unfucked my mind when I realized my excuses weren't protecting me. They were protecting my old identity. Your potential is waiting behind the wall you built to defend your limitations. Chapter 19. I made my breakthrough a daily practice. You don't unfake your mind once. You unfake it every day. Transformation isn't a moment. It's a maintenance plan. Every day, my mind tries to pull me back to old patterns, old fears, old habits, old programs. And every day, I choose who I'm becoming over who I was. The comeback version of you is built through daily decisions. Choose discipline over impulse. Choose purpose over distraction. Choose courage over comfort. Choose clarity over chaos. Choose identity over emotion. Choose forward over familiar. If you want the next year to be your best year ever, you can't wait for life to get easier. You must get stronger. Your comeback is built one decision at a time. Chapter 20. I stopped quitting when things got hard. Soft people break easily. Strong people break strategically. Years ago, whenever things got difficult, I'd pull back, slow down, drop the goal, convince myself it wasn't meant to be. That version of me lost almost everything. The breakthrough came when I stopped expecting life to feel fair and started expecting myself to feel unstoppable. Hard doesn't mean stop. Hard means continue. Pressure doesn't mean quit. Pressure means transform. Your mind becomes unbreakable the moment you stop treating difficulty as a message to retreat and start treating it as a message to evolve. Chapter 21. I stopped letting my wounds be my personality. Some people turn their pain into their identity. I did too, for a while. But your trauma is not your personality. Your heartbreak is not your character. Your past is not your purpose. Your wounds explain you, but they don't define you. The moment I stopped identifying with the worst parts of my story, my power returned. You are not here to be a museum of your damage. You are here to be the architect of your destiny. Chapter 22. I designed a future worth fighting, for a mind cannot heal without direction. A heart cannot recover without purpose. A life cannot transform without vision. I unfucked my mind by giving it something to build toward, not a fantasy, not a vague dream, a specific future, a future where I wasn't numb, I wasn't stuck, I wasn't small, I wasn't apologizing, I wasn't surviving, I was rising. Your mind aligns with whatever future you feed it. I fed mine something worth becoming. Final chapter. I made my comeback a non-negotiable. Here is the truth most people avoid. Your breakthrough is not an accident. It is a decision. I didn't hope for a comeback. I built one, brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. I took the hardest year of my life and turned it into the foundation for the best year of my life. Not because I was ready, not because I felt strong, but because I refused to live another year the same way. I unfucked my mind by refusing to let my life end in the chapter where it broke. And now, it's your turn. Your comeback isn't waiting on motivation. It's waiting on identity. It's waiting on discipline. It's waiting on courage. It's waiting on you to declare, I'm done staying stuck. I'm done repeating this chapter. I'm done living from fear. I'm done betraying myself. I am rebuilding. I am rising. I am unfucking my mind. This is your year, not because it's easier, but because you're different now. Your next chapter starts the moment you stop negotiating with the old one. Turn the page. Begin. Rebuild. Rise. You're not behind. You're becoming.